Welcome to Horrified. 6 developers take a classic game such as Mario, Tetris, or even Stardew Valley and transform it into a horror experience. The game they'll be horrifying for this episode is chess. Each developer is also going to get assigned a specific role, from designer and programmer to artist and music composer. What's absolutely crazy, guys, is that the game turned out so well that the devs decided to continue working on it and put it on Steam. This is going to be an absolute blast, so without further ado, let's start with the very first developer.
Hi, my name's Eero and I'm a game design master student from Finland. In this challenge, I'm only allowed to make a game design document. No code, no art. A game design document, or GDD for short, is any document that attempts to communicate fully and clearly how a game should look, feel, and work. I really like this challenge, as part of my future job is to create GDDs for features, so this is a good learning experience. Here's what I came up with. You play chess against the demon queen Lilith. Lilith appears in some extra biblical sources as well as Jewish scripture. She's often described as the first demon, and is a symbol of female rebellion and nonconformity. There are several versions of her story, but most commonly she is the first woman and Adam's first wife who is punished and corrupted because she demanded to be equal. Lilith is frequently in pop culture such as the show Supernatural, Lucifer, and the game Diablo 4. In Lilith's game, you have to take all of Lilith's pieces except for the one which is possessed by a demon. If you take the possessed piece, that happens and you lose. You can sacrifice your own pieces to gain items which will help you deduce which pieces are safe. The more valuable the piece, the better the reward. This game is heavily inspired by Inscription and Buckshot Roulette. I tried to make the GDD pleasant to look at and also more video-friendly for YouTube purposes. My main concern is that even the simplest chess AI is difficult to program and I have no idea who the other team members are. I'm hoping it's someone like CodeMonkey or Sebastian Lack. It's frustrating not being allowed to do anything functional, but I'm really excited to see how this game turns out. My latest game, Ruby Ran Away From Home, is completely free on my itch page. See you soon!
Hello, my name is Tarook and I am great at chess. Fun story, I actually learned to play chess through Shotgun King. That's right, and I got really good at it too. For some reason, whenever I play with friends, they keep screaming at me that they'll call the police and that you're not supposed to shoot your opponent in the face with a 12 gauge to win. Idiots. I know the rules. Anyways, after receiving the game design document and opening it... Oh... That's a big scope. What does my schedule look like? Okay. Alright. We are going to need a second programmer. So what I decided to do was set up the foundation of the game so that the next dev can just get into the meat of the game and program the different gameplay mechanics and the game loop without having to take care of the different player interactions and kind of more boring stuff. So sadly my part doesn't look very visually impressive, but there's a bit going on under the hood that hopefully will save some time for the next programmer and let them just go wild and make the game amazing. I started by making a basic main menu scene so that it can be modified later by the future developers, and then with the time I had left I set up the chess piece movements as well as the capturing of enemy pieces, and I did a simple effect that shows where a chess piece can move, and I'm hoping an artist can replace it with whatever they have in mind for it to look a bit better. Alright, well that's about it for me for now. I'll see you later in the video.
Okay, very quick pause, guys, to let you know about the brand new community that we've just built. It's called the Game Dev Brotherhood. Noah, what is it about? The mission of the Game Dev Brotherhood is simple. We want to provide you with a tight-knit family of game creators that are going to push you forward and really just motivate you on that journey of finishing and launching video games. Because one thing Liam and I have realized by not only building the Blackthornprod YouTube channel, but also the Game Dev Rocket course, is that sure, all the technical knowledge and skills about how to make games is super important. You're going to have that. What's even more important is the community, because that's what's going to keep you motivated to keep on learning, to keep on improving. So that's why the central focus of the Game Dev Brotherhood is community. We're going to have the theme of the month, and we're going to be going on live Zoom calls with you guys and teaching you about that theme. You're going to be able to stop us whenever you want, ask us questions, interact with us. It's basically like a live mentoring session. On top of that, we're going to be inviting an expert, and you're also going to be on that call and be able to ask him questions. So that's the learning side of things. Now for the action side of things, we're going to be organizing a monthly game jam. We're going to be putting what you've learned to the test. And we're then going to go on live feedback sessions, play your games, give feedback, and that's the way to improve. Cherry on the cake, you'll also have access to the Game Dev Foundations course. We teach you the basics how to use Unity, programming C#, as well as the Game Art and Animations Foundations course, where I'm going to teach you about designing game characters, making environments, and animating everything. Okay, so if this sounds interesting, guys, you can click on the link in the description. We're offering a 7-day free trial so you can have a look around and see if this is for you. We really hope to see you inside. With that said, let's get straight back into the video.
What's up guys, I'm Tiko, I'm a 3D artist and game developer, and I'm so excited to be part of this project. Let's get into it. To start off, I want to say my girlfriend was nice enough to record a bunch of voice lines for the game. She's not a voice actor, so don't roast her too hard, but you can roast her a little bit. So, I had an existing ghoul character that I made a while back that I felt like would fit really well into the theme for the game, so I decided to build on top of that for the pawn. Next is the Hellhound, the knight in the game. To save time, I found a good base mesh to work off of from a CG trader made by AG-2024, shout out to them for making it. I wanted to make it look like the hound was either barking, biting, or spitting fire. And kind of like jumping out of, the fires of hell, I guess. And there it is. For the rook, it was definitely the easiest piece, but the most intimidating at the beginning. I wanted to do some kind of Eye of Sauron type of design while capturing the same silhouette as a real rook piece with a little castle tower on top. For the bishop, I used Blender's base gold mesh. And then for the robe, I just started with a flat plane, subdivided it, added a hood, did a cloth sim, and sculpted some more wrinkles on top, textured it, and was ready to go. And then for the queen, I started with some of the face details, did some sculpting on that, shaped the body, made sure it kind of like fit the aesthetic that we're going for. Then did the horns and nails. And then for the outfit itself, I wanted to do something like kind of organic. For the hair, I just wanted to save some time, so I grabbed some hair off of Mixamo, shaped it. Then for the pose, I went for like kind of like a power pose where she just kind of has her arms out wide open. And then for the king, just make him like an absolute Chad, just like buff, arms crossed. Again, another simple outfit. I just did like a loincloth. Nothing special signifying like he's not the special one in this situation. He's not in charge. For the chessboard, I actually had one from a previous project like way back. So I started with that and built on top of it. Then it was time to bring everything into Unity. It was a matter of just kind of setting up the materials, textures, replacing the meshes and the prefabs, and then, doing a bit of level design and lighting. And of course the title screen, did like a custom, Lilith's game mesh through the metal material and that, did some lighting. By the way, I also have a game in development called End Awakening. It's a Greek mythology zombie survival game set in modern times. You can wishlist it now. I also have 10 keys for the game sprinkled throughout my recap, so if you want the game, you can try and find it. Good luck!
Hey everyone, it's Dio from CowSins, and today I'm joining the challenge as a programmer, and to be honest, this looks super promising because, I love chess. We've got a pretty long to-do list, so let's dive right into it. First things first, I properly oriented the pieces since they were originally facing forward, and I also tweaked the camera angle to give us a clearer view of the board and also to avoid any weird request issues. Now, I also ran into a strange bug where selecting the piece with no valid moves would basically stuck the game with that piece selected, and you couldn't pick any other piece unless you manually deselected the previous one. So to fix that, I added a visual indicator to make it much easier to see which piece is currently selected. On top of that, I made it so you can only hover or select pieces from the correct team based on whose turn it is. For example, if it's White's turn, you can only interact with white pieces, and same goes for the black pieces. To spice things up, I added some SFX logic here and there for better feedback. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. I also experimented with dynamic lighting based on the current turn, but I'm still not too sure about it. Oh, and here's a small but satisfying detail. I added a camera tilt effect that follows wherever you're aiming. I know it's, kind of stupid, but it's also really satisfying. And that's pretty much it for me. There were a few other tweaks and fixes here and there that I made for this challenge, but overall, the game was already in a pretty advanced stage. In my opinion, the biggest issue was feedback and game feel, but I think I managed to improve that a bit with my submission. Anyway, that's all for me, and see you next time.
Hey, it's Lighthoof Dryden here. I can tell we're gonna want a tense, dark, atmospheric track for the gameplay, but I also want to fold some meaning into it through the music, so I had the idea to compose a title melody for Lilith. I did some research for inspiration, and it turns out she has quite a complicated mythology that's been reinterpreted throughout history. This idea of reinterpretation made me think of enharmonic spellings in music. You might have heard how F and E sharp are the same pitch, for example, and you might wonder why have two names for the same pitch, but they function differently depending on the context. I wanted to build a track that maximally emphasized that difference in spelling and function, so the A theme goes like this, starting on a G. And the B theme goes like this, starting on what's technically an F double sharp. So it ended up becoming this whole 3-minute theme for violin, piano, and string orchestra. From there, it was pretty easy to deconstruct that theme into a more atmospheric horror version for the gameplay. Sometimes I could take a little fragment of the main melody and overlap it and make it chaotic. And sometimes I could do the melody, but really drawn out. Last, the game design doc included this jump scare mechanic for when you take the possessed piece. I recorded this jump scare sound with violin, cymbals, and my favorite instrument, screaming. But as I was busy putting these into the game, I noticed that the jump scare mechanic hadn't been programmed in yet. Luckily, the programmer gave such a solid base that it was easy to extend the system and create it. But I also still noticed that you had to move the pieces on Lilith's behalf. I know I'm just the composer this time, but my first appearance on Blackthornprod was me making a chess game, so I wanted to try this. I spent just a couple hours making a super rudimentary chess AI just for fun. Hopefully the final dev can teach it what being in check means. If you like the music, I'm planning to do a more thorough breakdown of the process of creating it over on my channel, Lighthoof Dryden. I hope to see you over there.
Hey everyone, I'm IDKBOX and I've been tasked with polishing the game. There was one small problem though. The game isn't done yet. So there are still a lot of mechanics that haven't been implemented, so before polishing anything, I need to finish the game first. But before that, yeah, let's fix some bugs. So the volumetric fog was broken, and after turning on compatibility mode, it finally fixed it. Except this broke every single fire shader. And updating the asset didn't help, so unfortunately I had to remove the fire shader since I don't really know how to fix them. Then I tweaked the materials for better clarity since it's a bit hard to see which pieces are which. Next, I modified the game's lighting, and yeah, I know it's a bit bright for a horror game, but since it's chess, I feel like seeing the entire board clearly is more important. The shadows still felt a bit off, so I enabled ambient occlusion. I also added particles, and finally, it looked pretty decent. Next, I built a new level generation system since the previous one wasn't finished yet, and now adding new levels is significantly easier. And with the foundations done, I can finally move on to actually implementing the mechanics. So I sketched out a few mockups in Photoshop. I wanted to go with this painterly style, so I asked a friend of mine to help. And after several iterations, we finally had some pretty awesome item designs and a pretty cool looking eye for dialogue scenes. Then I added a big dramatic text effect inspired by Superhot, and holy moly, this looks awesome now! And the best part is, I can reuse it later on for tutorials. Next, I asked Rio to illustrate the jump scare phase. We don't play horror games at all, so it turned out not to be that scary. Like, we tried, but the results weren't scary at all. Like, what is this? Then, before doing a final polish, I playtested it with my friends and found tons of bugs. Like, checkmating the enemy king froze the entire game, so I just replaced the king with a queen. It fits better thematically, and I don't need to fix the checkmate code. I also buffed the item drops and balanced enemy rewards a bit. And finally, I designed sound effects in Premiere and implemented them in Fmod for randomized pitches, smooth music transitions, and awesome voice effects. And after some UI polish, a custom cursor, and a title screen, the game is finally done! I can't wait for the other devs to try it. Hopefully they like it.
New main menu. I like the eye. That's crazy. Like it follows your cursor. I love the voice effects too. That's so cool.
Wow, this looks so great.
What the This looks so good. Yo, that's the little chessboard thing I set up.
I was second to last, and IDKBOX, you went crazy on it. It was so good. It was really changed. I cannot believe you got all that in there.
The fog looks better. I can't remember if I added fog or not, but it looks really good. And there's like dust flying too. That looks really good. This feels like, what is it, devoid of life?
This guy. Oh, possessed! So now I just have to take all the others. He can't eat me from... now I can take... No! I forgot the rules of my own game. I'm not allowed to take the possessed piece. I have to take everyone else. I kind of want to see the jump scare though. Yeah.
Well, I like this. I have to like actually think about who I'm attacking. Could just eat that guy, but he might be the possessed one. Wait, was that my queen?
Okay, then I'm gonna kill this guy. And I'm gonna check this guy. Safe. Okay, so queen goes here.
I think I would come up with more ways to exchange information about where the possessed piece is. Like maybe you can reveal, like, is it on a black square right now? Is it on a white square right now? Or is it in this row or that row? Or what kind of piece it is or something like that, so that you could still have that tension but also not have it feel like, well, how was I supposed to know?
Yeah.
I forgot like all these voice lines that she recorded. That's like such a crazy line. Kill an enemy. Oh gosh. Okay. I can't kill the possessed one. Oh. Honestly, it's kind of hard to put down. You know, you could just keep playing and playing. You lose, you're kind of like, okay, let me give it another go. There's not a whole lot of horror from what I've seen so far, but it's definitely like unsettling the whole time.
I wonder how we could add more horror to this sort of experience.
Some of the items that you can use to get information, like you have to walk around the cave or purgatory or hell where you are with Lilith, and you can do something in there, and obviously that would give some possibility to add, like, not scares, but maybe like add tension.
Safe, okay. It's almost like the game where like they move the cups and you have to guess which one has like the ball in it, because they move around, and I have a horrible memory. Stressful. He was safe! And I have a horrible memory.
And the audio design is top notch.
You know, I worked on the game and I read the design document. I knew that there was only one possessed pawn. A lot of time when I was playing, I was like, but what if there's more than one? And that was really scary, just not knowing, am I actually winning? Oh, I forgot I'm a dumbass! I'm so stupid. I love this game.
One thought that just occurred to me is, what if you do get a jump scare if you take the possessed piece, but it doesn't lose you the game, it just, one of your pieces dies or something, or two of your pieces die, there's some punishment. You're just, oh no, I'm in a much worse place now.
Or maybe like there's some creature that kind of starts stalking you from the woods outside your house, so you know that now that you've got a possessed piece, things are happening in your head, you're starting to hear whispers. While you're playing the chess game, you know that there's a creature that's potentially in your house, you've like maybe got to cast furtive looks behind you while you're playing to make sure there's nothing.
It carries in between the games.
Yes.
So the more you lose, the more you're at risk of getting killed.
Oh, this is a full game. I don't feel like there's anything missing. I guess maybe like a tutorial.
This game needs to be added on Steam or something. It's awesome.
I feel like I would pay for this game.
Me and the team really loved how this game turned out, so we're going to continue development, and Lilith's game will be a Steam release. Please, wishlist the game on Steam. It really helps us out.
If you like this new video concept, make sure to like and subscribe, it means a ton. And remember that we've just opened up the Game Dev Brotherhood, our brand new community for game developers. We'll be teaching game development live, interviewing experts, and hosting awesome community events such as game jams. Link to that is in the description. See you real soon. Cheers.